Yo guys, it's your friend here, bringing you another awesome Naruto what if tale. Which is, without wasting your time, let's start the fanfic. Naruto, loved by Hinata, desired by Sakura, chosen by Ino. The night before the awards ceremony, we find Uchiha Sasuke asleep inside the hospital. About 3 days earlier, Tsunade had successfully managed to remove the curse seal that Orochimaru had placed on Sasuke, but it had taken a toll on his body. Sasuke was going to have to rest for about a week before he could move again. Haruno Sakura had vowed that she would take care of Sasuke and never left his side except to use the bathroom and to get food. We now find our hero Naruto making his way towards the Konoha hospital, trying to make it before visiting hours were over for the day. Despite how they treated one another, deep down, Naruto really did care for his comrade Sasuke and hoped that he would get better. After being told where Sasuke's room was from the nurse, Naruto makes his way towards room 101 to check in on his teammate. Right as he is about to open the door, however, Naruto hears voices on the other side. "Sasuke-kun, if you can hear me, please wake up." Sakura-chan, thought Naruto as he opened the door slightly to get a peek at what was going on inside. Naruto's ears had not deceived him after all. It really was Sakura inside Sasuke's room. Sasuke's eyelids blinked twice before slowly opening and being greeted to his pink-haired and green-eyed teammate of Team 7. "Sasuke-kun," Sakura whispered as her eyes started to get watery. "Sakura." Sasuke grunted as his eyes stared off into space. Considering his actions, Sasuke was surprised that anyone would want to visit him. "Sasuke-kun," Sakura whimpered, as tears finally streamed down her cheeks. "I thought that I lost you forever." "Sakura." Sasuke sighs, as he finally sits up in the bed and turns his head over to the left to fully look at Sakura's face. He could see the anguish that he had caused Sakura. Her eyes were red from crying so much, and a couple of dark circles were visible under her eyes. Sasuke assumed it to be from lack of sleep. And Sakura's normally well-brushed pink hair, arguably the reason for Sakura's namesake, was unkempt without her usual ninja headband to keep it all tidy. What made all of these observations about his teammate worse though, was knowing why Sakura had been in so much distress these past couple of days. It had all been because of him. That's right, the pain lay solely on his shoulders. Because of his quest to be an Avenger, Sasuke had been willing to do whatever it took to accomplish his goal of defeating his brother Itachi. Sure, seeking Orochimaru for help may not have been the wisest thing that he could have done. In fact, it was downright stupid. And evil. From looking at Sakura's face, Sasuke felt emotions that he didn't think he would ever feel for her: remorse and longing. He had tried to push Sakura away so that when the time came to leave, the pain would not hurt as much. He didn't want to see her hurt. And he didn't want to admit that he actually longed for Sakura as much as she had for him. It had been one of the things that had pissed him off during the Sound Invasion. When Naruto had been able to protect Sakura from Gaara, and he couldn't. It wasn't right, he should have been the one to protect Sakura. But at least she was safe. For the first time in his life, Sasuke actually felt sorry. Not for the fact that he failed in his mission, oh no. But for hurting Sakura so much. She didn't deserve all the crap that he put her through. She might have been annoying, and a little bit too fanatical at first, but it had all been for his sake. Naruto wasn't the idiot on the team, he was. "Sakura," Sasuke whispers as he brushes a couple of strands of hair out of her eyes, "I'm sorry." Meanwhile, Naruto was still outside peeking into the room, not quite liking what he was seeing. Naruto also noticed that his stomach seemed to feel tighter as he watched the scene between his two teammates. "Sasuke-kun," Sakura said as she caught Sasuke in an embrace, I'm here for you." This had not been the first time that Naruto witnessed something like this. When Tsunade had first entered the Konoha village as the 5th Hokage, Sakura had displayed this same affection towards Sasuke. Naruto, however, was not prepared for what Sakura would do next. Sasuke-kun, Sakura said as she lifted her head from Sasuke's neck and looked directly into his eyes. I love you, I know. Hearing this heartfelt confession come out of Sakura's lips was almost enough to send Naruto's emotions over the edge. She loved him. How could she? Sasuke treated her like trash. Naruto knew that Sakura liked Sasuke a lot, but loved him. Naruto found it even more difficult to maintain his composure when he saw Sakura crush Sasuke's lips with her own. Sasuke was caught back by Sakura's actions, but didn't hesitate, nor stop Sakura from what she was doing. He wrapped his right arm around Sakura's back and pulled her body closer to his, increasing the intensity of the kiss. Naruto had seen enough. Seeing Sakura kiss their teammate, and his biggest rival, was too much to bear, even for Naruto. Despite being the container of a demon fox that would kill without any qualms for 13 years, Naruto was still only human. And being human meant that not even Naruto, who holds the reputation as the loudest and most hyperactive ninja in Konoha village, was immune to emotions that humans experience daily. Emotions such as laughter, anger, or in this case, heartbreak. Naruto felt it best that he leave, before things got out of hand. He quietly left Sasuke's room with the two inhabitants inside, not even noticing that he had been around in the first place. Tears welled up in Naruto's eyes as he left the hospital. Any final ambitions that he had of winning Sakura's heart were shattered after he saw her kiss Sasuke. Love, it was the one thing that Naruto craved more than anything. Even more than being Hokage, Naruto wanted somebody that actually cared for him. Not somebody that did it to be nice, but deep down, really felt worried about him. The only person that even came close was Iruka-sensei, but Naruto wanted a deeper connection. Naruto wanted somebody that woke up and thought about his well-being or smiled whenever he came near. Not out of obligation, but general concern. It isn't fair, Naruto thought as he walked through the village. No matter how much I try, in Sakura-chan's eyes, I will always be dead last. I will always be a loser. I will never be good enough for her, because I'm not Sasuke. No matter how much I train or how much stronger I become, Sakura-chan will never accept me. Seeing Sasuke steal Sakura's kiss from him had been equivalent to someone driving a kunai straight through his heart. And of the past battles that Naruto had been in with such ninja like Neji or Haku had paled in comparison to the inner battle that Naruto was facing right now in his heart. There were only 3 people that truly understood Naruto's pain, but one of them was dead, third Hokage, one was currently away on a mission, Iruka, and the other one knew about Naruto's pain, but was too tied up being the new ruler of the village to talk to Naruto, Tsunade. So basically, Naruto was out of options when it came to someone to confide in. Kakashi was not even an option. Although Kakashi probably already knew about Naruto's feelings towards Sakura, Kakashi was not one that Naruto felt comfortable discussing his inner problems to. Kakashi's idea of solving problems was pulling out his copy of Ika Ika Paradise. The hentai. Naruto almost snickered at the idea of asking Kakashi for help. Even if Naruto had thought of asking Kakashi for help, it would still be impossible since Kakashi was currently away on an A-ranked mission, which meant that he wouldn't be returning to the village for quite some time. So in the long run, Naruto was screwed. Naruto had made his way to the Ninja Academy, even though that wasn't his intention in the first place. Naruto had been walking just for the sake of it, and to get away from the hospital, and Sasuke, and Sakura-chan. Damn you, Sasuke, why does everything always have to come so easily for you? Why do I always have to work twice as hard as you and still get half the respect? Why do all of the girls want to be with a jerk like you? That recent memory still fresh in his head, Naruto saw the swing that he sat on when he had failed his Ninja Academy exam for the 3rd time in a row. It was his swing, the swing that he sat on when he felt depressed. And right now, Naruto felt long overdue for a visit. Naruto sat down in the swing as the last of his tears had dried up. Naruto had originally planned on going to the Ichiraku ramen stand immediately after checking up on Sasuke, but the incident at the hospital had made him lose his appetite. Right now, Naruto could care less about anything. Nothing mattered. Not his training, the medal ceremony the following day, a nice bowl of miso ramen, or even his ultimate desire to become Hokage. Naruto didn't care, cause one of the things that he had cared about the most, had just been taken away from him. Ever since Team 7 was formed, Sakura would continue to pursue Sasuke's affections, despite the fact that he treated her like garbage. In return, Sakura would constantly insult Naruto and treat him bad, even though Naruto cared about Sakura like she was a goddess. Over time, Naruto had hoped that Sakura would come to her senses and realize that Sasuke could care less about her and look towards someone that did care, but Sakura never gave up. Even when other guys like Fuzzy Eyebrows, Rock Lee would desire her, Sakura never gave up on her goal, which was to be with Sasuke. And in the end, it looked like Sakura had finally succeeded in winning his heart. "There was never a chance for me," said Naruto to himself as he gave his swing a test drive. "My fate was sealed when I became the jailer for Kyuubi 13 years ago. Nobody dares get close to me because they are afraid of the demon inside of me. Everyone in this village hates me, and wishes that I were dead. They try to ignore me, like I am only a figment of their imagination. Whenever I fight, people always expect me to fail. They always have low expectations of me, despite the fact that I beat strong opponents, despite the fact that I train twice as hard as everyone else." Naruto stopped swinging as his recently dried eyes became wet again. "I might as well give up on things like love. I am only fooling myself if I think that someone will actually accept me for who I am, and not what I am. Just because I hold a demon fox inside of me, people think that I am a monster, that I don't have feelings, or that I don't matter. I never asked to be the container of Kyuubi, so why do they treat me like it was my choice? Why do they continue to hate me?" And Naruto couldn't hold back his tears anymore as he started to cry again. The only thing that Naruto had succeeded in is making himself feel even more miserable. So much for being strong. Naruto had said that he would never cry again, but all of that pent-up emotion, it had finally reached its peak. And the only way out was through the eyes. Unknown to Naruto, however, was a blue-haired, white-eyed girl that had been watching Naruto behind a tree and listening to everything. Also unknown to Naruto was that this girl's eyes were also in tears from what she had heard Naruto say. Naruto was her hero, the source of her strength, the joy of her life. Naruto was the person that she loved with all of her heart. It had broken her heart to find out why her secret crush had been treated so cruelly all these years. It was a wrong that needed to be rectified. "Naruto-kun," the girl whispered as tears streamed down her cheek. "You are loved, you always have been, and I think it's time for me to show you that." The girl, known as Hyuga Hinata, came out from behind her tree and decided to bring forth her courage and give strength to the one that had always empowered her. "Naruto-kun," mumbled the girl as tears continued to run down her face. "Huh," Naruto said as he quickly wiped his tears away and looked up. It was Hyuga Hinata, the same girl that he made an oath to on her blood, the same girl that he had dedicated his fight against Neji in the Chunin finals to, was standing in front of him. "Hinata, you're crying." Hinata immediately wrapped her arms around Naruto's neck as she cried on his chest. "Hinata is crying, but why?" Naruto had no idea for Hinata's current distress, but he knew that whatever it was that was bothering Hinata, couldn't be resolved while he was still in his special swing. So Naruto did the gentleman thing. He got up off the swing and escorted Hinata to one of the benches that sat outside the ninja academy so that they were a bit more comfortable. Upon sitting Hinata and himself down on the bench, Naruto lifted her head slightly so that they were looking at each other face to face. From this close distance, Hinata's clear white eyes were like beautiful pearls that reflected everything. And Hinata's blue hair almost seemed to glow from the moonlight that shone in. Hinata was beautiful. Why hadn't he noticed it before? Hinata, why are you crying? Naruto-kun, Hinata says through sniffles, I heard everything. No one should have to deal with such pain. What are you talking about? Naruto asks, truly confused. I know, Hinata says with a look that seems to tear into Naruto's soul, I know about you, and the Kyuubi. She knows. Naruto's body stiffens, as panic started to kick in, then when she said that she heard everything, she meant. I feel your pain. Hinata begins again, I know how it feels to be alone. I may not have spent most of my life with a demon fox inside of me, but people still ignore me like I am a monster. Even my own family has little faith in me ever since my little sister Hanabi beat me in a fight. Sometimes my teammates Kiba and Shino doubt my abilities. But whenever I see you Naruto-kun, I don't feel so alone anymore. I feel like I can do anything. Whenever I see you, all of my pain goes away. I don't like it when the people in this village are mean to you or talk badly about you, Naruto-kun. It isn't right. You deserve to be loved, and you deserve to be acknowledged for more than just your strength. True power comes from the heart. Hinata, Naruto wonders, why do you have such confidence in me? What do you see in me that others don't? Why don't you hate me like everyone else? This was it. Now there was no turning back. In order to answer his question, Hinata realized that she would have to tell Naruto the part that she had been trying to leave out. The part about her being in love with him. Ever since the academy days, Hinata knew that there was something special about Naruto ever since she first laid eyes on him. It saddened her to think that nobody but herself took the time to find out about him or get to know him for his achievements, instead of his failures. Instead, everyone in the village was told to ignore Naruto like he was a disease, like he was an apple inside a bag of oranges, like he was the goose inside a group of ducks. And explanations were never made. Just like all of the other kids in the village, Hinata was just told by her parents to ignore Naruto and not to associate with him. This led Hinata into wondering why. What had started out as curiosity, led to discovering that Naruto was not the evil beast that people often depicted him as. Naruto was only a boy that longed for affection, yet nobody would listen to his cries for help. Nobody would give him the attention that he so desperately needed. Well, all that was about to change. Because of Naruto, Hinata had found the strength that she didn't know she had to stand up to her cousin Neji during the Chunin exam. Even though she lost, Hinata still felt a lot more confident about herself. When everybody wanted to look the other way, there was Naruto, cheering her on. Even after she was defeated, that same boy even vowed to defeat Neji for her. Naruto cared, when nobody else would. Ever since that day, Hinata had started to gain more confidence in herself and her abilities. No longer would she be the, always shy, Hyuga girl that people doubted. Slowly, Hinata was going to change and become stronger, not only physically, but mentally and spiritually as well. And as a test to see how far she had developed, Hinata was going to tell Naruto how much he meant to her. A smile came across the face of the heir to the Hyuga clan as she prepared to take the first step of the rest of her life. Why do I have such confidence in you? Hinata begins, it's because I know deep down inside my heart that you are destined to do many great things. And strength comes from support. You have a great dream, Naruto. I know it will come true one day. I believe in you because you try and never give up. And because you are one of the few people that believes in me. Naruto started to blush slightly from what Hinata said. She believes in me. What do I see in you? Hinata continues, I see a great spirit and a great soul with a good heart that only wants to help people. I see somebody that works hard at everything they do and doesn't take anything for granted. I see someone that desires love and attention. I see someone that has been robbed of a chance to have a family. I see somebody that is treated cruelly for all the wrong reasons. And I see somebody that always makes me smile every time I see him. Hinata. Naruto was really starting to blush now from Hinata's comments. Nobody had ever said anything so honest and heartfelt towards him, not even Iruka-sensei. Naruto was starting to look at Hinata a little bit differently now. Hinata knew that it was time to tell Naruto her true feelings. Everything else she had said had only hinted at her true message. Hinata suddenly felt slightly nervous now, cause this was going to be the boldest thing that she had ever done in her entire life. Standing up to her cousin Neji was easier to do than this. No, I can do this. I'll be strong for you, Naruto-kun. Why don't I hate you like everyone else? Hinata started to whisper as she placed both of her hands on Naruto's cheeks. First of all, I'm not like everyone else. Everyone else in the village is blind. They don't see the true Naruto when they look at you. They only see the hatred that they were taught to hold against you. They don't believe in amnesty, giving you a chance to grow and improve. It's ironic how our village is known as one of the strongest villages, if not the strongest, because of our unity, but sometimes the people in the village forget that. They say one thing and then do the exact opposite. They are hypocrites. Hinata. Naruto says solemnly, you know the truth now, you know why the village hates me. I don't care. Hinata protests, you never had a say in the matter. What you did, I consider heroic. You continue to push on with QB inside you, despite the fact that people hate you daily. The burden that you carry is one that I wouldn't wish on anybody. That is true strength. Even when you fall down, you get back up. That is what will one day make you Hokage. Hinata, why is it that you seem to understand me better than anybody? Why is it that except for Iruka-sensei, you are the only one that treats me with true kindness? Why do you cry for me? Why do you care so much? I could never hate you, Naruto-kun. You are not like any of the other guys in this village. You are special to me, and Hinata found herself staring at the floor now. Her confidence was wavering, and right when it was needed most. No, Hinata thinks as she lifts her head back up, I won't back down. I can't afford to. Not anymore. He needs me. Naruto-kun. Hinata began again. I like you. I like you a lot. You are not like any of the other guys I know. I know a lot of people think that I like Kiba-kun, but he is just a friend. Whenever I see you, I feel like the happiest person ever. You always make me smile. You always make me happy. And once again, Hinata had managed to restore Naruto's spirit. She had done it once before, just before Naruto had to face Neji in the Chunin finals a while back, and now she had done it again. Hinata was like his guardian angel. Thank you. Naruto thanks as a small smile covers his face. You always know what to say to cheer me up. Why? Hinata blushed before resting her head in Naruto's chest and wrapping her arms around him. Why? Hinata says, an adorable grin forming on her lips, it's because I love you. At those words, Naruto froze. She loves me. Me. The person that everyone likes to hate. The person that nobody had any faith in. It had to be a joke, Naruto had concluded. Nobody loved him. He was the village idiot. The fall guy. The demon. While a couple of people might have genuinely started to respect him, that's where it ended. It would never go any farther than that. His incident in the hospital earlier had been proof of that. Sakura had started to respect him from the time they had started as teammates. She had started to see that he was strong, and could handle his own. While Sakura might have been unconscious to see his triumph against Gaara, she had been awake to see him save both her and Sasuke from that giant snake before Orochimaru got the drop on him. And in the end, where did it get him? Nowhere. Even after all of his devotion, Sakura had still chosen Sasuke over him. Even after he had risked his life for her, it was all for Sasuke. Hinata, Naruto says quietly as he lifts Hinata's head off his chest. Naruto appreciated Hinata caring for his pain. Naruto even was thankful to Hinata for cheering him up. But he didn't need her making up some cruel jokes about being in love with him. But as he gazed into Hinata's eyes another time that night, Naruto found himself lost in them. Whatever it was that he wanted to say had been completely forgotten. Naruto noticed how half-lidded Hinata's eyes were, as well as how close her face was to his, but there was nothing that he could say or do about it. It was as if all time stopped. Na-ru-to-kun, Hinata spoke softly and sweetly, before melting into his mouth. It took a moment for Naruto to register that the heir to the Hyuga clan was kissing him, but when he did, Hinata had broken off the lip lock. Then, she's serious. She really does love me. Naruto-kun, Hinata said apologetically, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have done that. It was wrong of me to do it. Hinata's words were cut off as Naruto returned her sweet kiss. Now knowing that he wasn't going to reject her, Hinata's grip on his body tightened as she put in more of herself to match his intensity. All of this time, when I was trying to make Sakura-chan like me, Hinata always did. After kissing for several more seconds, Hinata broke off the kiss before she started planting her lips all over his neck. Hinata, Naruto gasped from the new sensations that he was feeling. Hinata continued to kiss all over Naruto's neck before finally biting down. Itai, Naruto hissed as he felt Hinata's teeth inside him. Naruto felt paralyzed as Hinata continued to place love bites all over him. The feeling surging through him was intoxicating. Hinata had no idea what she was doing. She wasn't even fully aware of her actions. All she knew was that she was in love with Uzumaki Naruto, and she would show him through the best of her ability. Naruto meanwhile, had wondered how he had been so fortunate to find Hinata. How could he have been so blind? How could he have missed her admiration of him? Naruto remembered what had happened after he had defeated Kiba in the Chunin preliminaries. Hinata, Kiba's teammate, had offered him some ointment cream to tend to his wounds. When he had inquired why, Hinata became so shy that her sensei Yuichi Kurenai just told him to take the stuff. It always puzzled him why Hinata was going out of her way to help him. Didn't Kiba need the cream more? He did, but the reason why he didn't receive it was because Kiba wasn't him. I really am a baka, Naruto sighs as Hinata continued to please him. How could I not see how much Hinata wanted me? Simple, Naruto answered to himself. He had been too busy trying to gain Sakura's favor to notice anyone else. Well, no more, Naruto thinks as he looks back at Hinata, nearly lost in a sea of desire for him. I won't take you for granted anymore. I won't make the same mistake that Sasuke-tem made with Sakura-chan for so long. You deserve better than that. Naruto, with newfound resolve, mimics Hinata's actions by biting into her neck. Naruto-kun, Hinata moans, as she throws her hands behind his head. Naruto nibbled into Hinata's neck in such a way that Hinata was now purring. Maybe hanging around Erosenin had its benefits after all. She had been his light at the end of the tunnel, and the sun to shine on the maelstrom that was his life. He could never thank her enough for that. Naruto, finally finished, breaks away. Hinata pants from the excitement that they had gone through and rests her head back onto his chest. It had started off as a depressing evening, but Hinata had changed all of that. Finally understanding who she was made Naruto look at Hinata completely differently. He had found her. He had found his precious person. And if he wanted to keep her, he needed to make sure that she got home before suspicion arose. Hinata, don't you have to go home? I don't think your family approves of me. I don't care. Hinata proclaims as she kisses Naruto's lips again. I love you, Naruto-kun, and one day, I'll make them understand that, even if I have to renounce my Hyuga heritage. Hinata, you can't do that. I'm not worth it. I mean, this time it was Hinata's turn to hush Naruto with a finger to his lips. Yes, it is. Nobody pays more attention to me than you, Naruto-kun. Nobody is more honest and more caring than you. My family, there is some love, but it is mostly like a unit love, not really genuine love like I have for you. I will become the heir to the Hyuga Empire when I come of age, and there is nothing that my family can do to change that. They can't decide who I fall in love with. The things that Hinata said had made Naruto want to cry again. Hinata was the first person that had shown so much concern for him. She loved him without fear, and without regret. I could stay out here with Hinata-chan all night. Wait a second, what time is it? Naruto looked at his watch and saw that it was 9:45. Oh no, the awards ceremony. It's supposed to take place tomorrow afternoon. Hinata, we have to get home. But I'd rather stay with you, Naruto-kun. Naruto was almost tempted to forget about the awards ceremony right there and then, but he also remembered that Hinata's family would go crazy if they found out that Hinata had been out all night with the forbidden Uzumaki boy. I know, Hinata-chan, I want to stay with you too, but your family might suspect something. Don't worry, I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, good night, Naruto-kun. Sweet dreams, Hinata. They gave each other a warm hug before running off towards their respective homes. Welcome everyone, said Tsunade to the crowd that afternoon. About a week and a half ago, Orochimaru had tried to capture one of our ninjas. Unfortunately, due to all of our Chunin and Junin being absent on missions, I was left with no choice but to give the only Chunin left in the village, Nara Shikamaru, the task of assembling a team of himself, plus 4 other genin that he felt worthy, to go on a rescue mission for their comrade. Gentlemen, when I call out your name, step forward. Akamichi Choji. Choji stepped forward looking good as new. Even after he had taken all those solder pills, he recovered nicely. Tsunade put the medal around his neck as the crowd applauded. Good job, Choji. Team 10 Sensei Sarutobi Asuma congratulated as Choji stepped down from the stage. You have come a long way since Team 10 started. I'm proud of you, Choji. Choji's teammate Yamanaka Ino chimes in as she hugs him. I'm also glad that you are okay. I was really worried about you. Thanks, you too, Choji says as he rubs the back of his head, but don't forget that Shikamaru is still up there. Hyuga Neji. The crowd went wild when Neji stepped forward. He was a fan favorite. Like Choji, Neji had also been in a near-death state, but fortunately he survived. It was just not his time to die yet. Neji's sensei Maeda guy says as Neji comes down from the stage. Please don't break down and start giving out speeches about my flames of youth, Neji pleads as Guy pats him on the back. To Neji's great delight, Guy kept his mouth shut. But then Neji remembered that Lee was still up on stage. Neji's other teammate Tenten also picked up on this realization and sighed, knowing that the silence that she and Neji were blessed with at the current moment was only the calm before the storm. Next, Inuzuka Kiba. More clapping went off as Kiba stepped forward to receive his medal. Akamaru, Kiba sighed as the medal was placed around this neck. I couldn't have done this without you. You deserve this medal more than I do. Just then, there was yelping in the crowd. As everyone turned to see what the commotion was about, they saw a small nin dog with bandages wrapped around its body running towards the stage before leaping into Kiba's arms. Akamaru, Kiba said shocked, you're okay. Kiba then looked into the crowd and saw his older sister Hana smirking at him. Kiba understood fully what had happened. His sister Hana had healed Akamaru. Akamaru, Kiba says as he takes his medal off and places it around Akamaru's neck, this is for you. The crowd awes as Akamaru starts licking Kiba's cheek. Nara Shikamaru. The crowd once again went wild as the young genius prodigy came forward. Congratulations on your first successful ranked mission, Tsunade says into the microphone. Sandaime made no mistake when he made you a Chunin. I see great things for you. The audience kept yelling for Shikamaru to say a couple of words after his first successful mission he led. This is so troublesome, why do I have to do this anyway? Sigh, might as well get it over with. Shikamaru grabbed the microphone from Tsunade. Thank you for the medal. And thank you everybody for believing in me. I promise that I will continue to do my best to make this village proud and to show off the true strength of the leaf. Everyone clapped for Shikamaru as he stepped off the stage except for Yamanaka Ino, who was blushing. Ever since Shikamaru returned, Ino realized that she had feelings for him. She had never really wanted Sasuke. It was just to mess with her rival Sakura. Ino secretly loved Shikamaru, and told him, with a kiss upon his return to the village. "Shika-kun," Ino shouted as she jumped into her lover's arms, "I knew you could do it." "Shikamaru," Choji, Asuma says, "to celebrate the success of your mission, I'll take you all out for barbecue." Choji's mouth started to water as Asuma now took out his wallet to make sure that he didn't regret his decision. Rock Lee. The crowd went silent as Rock Lee stepped forward. Not only did Rock Lee recover fully from his surgery, but he also went off in search of his comrades to assist in the mission. For that, Rock Lee, you not only get the Medal of Bravery, but also the Medal of Courage and Persistence. The crowd was now screaming at the top of their lungs. Neji and Tenten eyed each other, counting how long it would be before their sensei made an of himself. As soon as Lee stepped off the stage, the countdown began. 3, 2, 1, Lee. Guy cried as he hugged Lee tightly. "Guy sensei." Lee returned with as much enthusiasm as Guy, also in tears. "Did my flames of youth burn brightly enough?" "Yes," Guy says as he cries on his pupil, "but now you must make them burn brighter." "Yes, Guy sensei," Lee returns, even louder than before, "I shall make my flames of youth burn brighter. And if I can't do that, then I'll run 100 laps around the village. And if I can't do that, then I'll do 1,000 push-ups. And if I can't do that, then I'll do 1,000 sit-ups." Lee. Guy sensei. Lee. Guy sensei. The entire crowd sweat drops as Lee and Guy have their little moment. Meanwhile, Neji and Tenten are slowly walking away from the other half of their team to try and keep the embarrassment down to a minimum. Ahem, Tsunade coughs, bringing the attention back to her. "We still have one person left. Uzumaki Naruto." Immediately, the crowd went completely silent as Naruto stepped forward. Despite earning a bit of respect from the crowd, Naruto still knew that the people of the village really didn't give a damn about him. "Naruto," Tsunade started in a serious tone. "You assisted in the mission to bring back your teammate, and you were the one that located him and brought him back home safely. I also understand that you met up with Orochimaru but managed to escape from his clutches without putting yourself into any real danger. For that, you get this medal." The crowd was still silent as Naruto received his medal. "Just as I thought," Naruto sighed, "nobody cares what I went through." That was what Naruto had thought at first, until he saw Hinata clapping. Hinata-chan. Then it was his teammate Sakura. Sakura-chan. Then it was his sensei Kakashi. Kakashi-sensei. Then it was his adopted little brother Konohamaru, along with his friends Moegi and Udon. "Naruto-nichan," Konohamaru shouted at the top of his lungs, "You rock." Konohamaru had been the one to make Naruto smile. Then it was the rest of the Rookie 9 and Guy's team clapping for Naruto, including their Junin teachers. Next it was Tsuki and his daughter Ayame, the owners of Ichiraku Ramen. Then it was Yumino Iruka, the first person that had accepted him as a person. Then it was Morino Ibiki clapping. Then it was Mitarashi Anko clapping. Then it was Ebisu clapping. And finally, it was Toad Sage Jiraiya who clapped for Naruto. And once the rest of the crowd saw the support that Naruto had, they started to clap as well. Naruto looked to his sides and also saw that Shizune and Tsunade were clapping. And it was then that the tears that Naruto had been fighting to hold back came forward. Tsunade pulled Naruto into a hug as he cried into her chest. Naruto had not been the only person crying that day. Tsunade was also crying as she held the one that she considered her grandson. Rock Lee and Guy were also crying, as was Iruka, but perhaps the most important one that had been crying for Naruto had been the one that had accepted him all along. "Naruto-kun," Hinata cried as she clapped for her beloved, "now they are starting to see what I have always saw in you. I'm happy for you." Hinata wanted to run over and hold Naruto so bad, but she knew that she couldn't. At least, not in the presence of her family. As the ceremony died down, everyone started to go their separate ways. Asuma took his team to have barbecue as he had promised them. Guy also took his team to a restaurant to celebrate. Sakura went back to the hospital to check back up on Sasuke. Kiba and Akamaru had left for home to enjoy the beef feast they had been promised. As for Naruto, Tsuki and Ayame had dragged him to Ichiraku for free ramen. Hinata, not wanting to be left out, grabbed on to his arm. This did not go unnoticed by Ayame. So Naruto has a girlfriend now. How sweet. It had been a wonderful day, Naruto thought. He got the recognition of Konoha, or at least he was starting to. He had Hinata by his side, and he had the food of the gods in front of him. Hey, Naruto, Ayame asks after serving another customer their order. I just noticed that you have some kind of mark on your neck. What happened? Are you alright? Naruto dropped his chopsticks and borrowed Ayame's mirror to look at himself. How did that happen? I was with Hinata when. Hinata? That's how it happened. Naruto began as he started to blush. It was some late-night training. What kind of training could leave a mark like that? Ayame thought at first until she saw that Hinata was blushing and also had a similar mark on her neck. Ayame then fought to keep from giggling as she had found out the truth. Training indeed. Naruto. Yada. Hinata-chan loves me. I've got a girlfriend now. Hinata. Naruto-kun. Naruto. Now that Hinata and I are together, we have to keep our love secret from the entire village. And what's this? Sasuke is healed and is back to being a ninja. I'm going to kill that Tem for making me risk my life for him. Sasuke. Don't get in my way, Naruto. I am an avenger. Nothing is more important to me than that. Naruto. Just stay out of my way, Sasuke. I'm going to be Hokage one day. Naruto. Next time, on Naruto, Forbidden Love. The new A-ranked mission. Hinata. Naruto-kun, will we be okay? Naruto. Of course we will, Hinata. I'll protect you. I don't go back on my words. That's my ninja way. Tsunade was making her way towards the Konoha hospital. Now that the awards ceremony was over, she had some unfinished business to take care of. Once inside, Tsunade made her way towards room 101, the room where Uchiha Sasuke was currently staying in. When she opened the door, she saw Haruno Sakura asleep in Sasuke's chest headfirst while their hands were interlocked. Tsunade couldn't help but smile. It seemed that there was still some good inside the young Uchiha prodigy. That would make her proposition with him go a lot easier. Tsunade gently woke Sakura up with a tap to her back. Tsunade-sama. Sakura. Tsunade spoke softly, I need to speak with Sasuke for a couple of minutes. Could you please leave the room? Sakura nodded her head as she slowly got up from Sasuke's chest. She gave Sasuke a quick kiss on the mouth before being escorted out of the room by one of Tsunade's guards. Chapter 2. Forbidden Love. The new A-ranked mission. Once Sakura was out of the room and out of hearing range, Tsunade locked the door before turning to Sasuke. Just what in the hell were you thinking to go running off like that? Tsunade barked, with that former gentleness replaced with a surge of killer intent almost instantly. I didn't know you cared. Hokage. Tsunade pretended to ignore the obvious disrespect coming from Sasuke's mouth. Sasuke. Tsunade tries again, with a more diplomatic approach, those boys risked their lives for you. I never asked for anybody to come after me. Sasuke yells, gritting his teeth, this was something that I had to do myself. Why did you make those men waste their lives? Patience, Tsunade, as much as you want to strangle him now, remember your original purpose. Just be calm and then you will be able to reach him. Let me take a seat. Tsunade grabbed a chair that was inside the room and placed it by Sasuke's bed so that they were closer. Sasuke, those boys went after you because they care. Don't give me that shit. Nobody gives a damn about me. Konoha only likes me because I am from one of the most elite clans in this village. They like me simply for being an Uchiha. Nobody gave a damn when my brother killed everyone in my clan except for me. Nobody gave a damn when I had to spend the rest of my life with no family. Sasuke's life, it is very similar to Naruto's. Then you better than anybody knows how Naruto feels. Naruto. Sasuke's eyes went wide at the mention of his name. Sasuke then thought back to when he had faced Naruto attempting to stop him from reaching Orochimaru. Sasuke, I've found you. Now come on. Let's go back to the village. I have no intention of returning, Dobi. Nani, what the hell are you talking about? I've got a mission to fulfill. And I won't let anybody stand in my way. And if you try to stop me, I'll destroy you. That's too bad, Sasuke, said Naruto as he got into a fighting stance. My orders are to bring you back to the village. I can bring you back conscious, or unconscious. It really doesn't matter either way. HMPH. Sasuke let out as he also got into a fighting stance. You were never able to compare to me. You will always be inferior. Let me prove that to you. Don't say I didn't warn you, Sasuke. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. You moron. Sasuke spat out as he gripped his right wrist with his left hand and started to draw in energy. You think you can stand up to my power? You think you're stronger than me? I don't think I'm stronger than you, said Naruto as his clones helped him gather the energy for his most powerful attack. It's a fact. You just have a problem understanding that. But now that there is no Kakashi or Sakura around, I'll prove that to you once and for all. Yes, let our attacks prove who is stronger, yelled Sasuke as he charged towards Naruto with the attack that he had been taught by Kakashi. Chidori, time to lose, Sasuke-chan. Rasengan. Don't compare me to that moron. We are nothing alike. On the contrary, Sasuke, you two both have a lot in common. Nobody else has grown up in this village without family in your generation but you two. Unlike Naruto, however, people respect you and don't hate you. I wish I could say the same about Naruto though. Now I've got your attention, Sasuke. Haven't you ever wondered why everyone in this village hates Naruto? Sasuke was about to protest, but he found that he couldn't come up with a valid reason. You should be grateful, Sasuke. You may not have family, but at least you have people that care about you. This entire village loves you. What does this have to do with Naruto? Sasuke asked as Tsunade poured herself a glass of water from the pitcher that was on the table. Lots, Tsunade said before drinking her glass of water and then putting the empty glass back on the table. Ah, that's much better. Anyway, while you may have people like Sakura adoring you, Naruto doesn't have anybody. Naruto would give anything to be in your place right now. I know that you have suffered through a lot, but so has Naruto, if not worse. Growing up for Naruto has literally been a living hell. Just what exactly happened to Naruto? I'm afraid that is something only Naruto can tell you, Tsunade said as she got up from her chair and made her way towards the door. What happened to Naruto is highly classified. Sasuke was quiet while he thought about everything that Tsunade had told him. I'm giving you one of three options, Sasuke, Tsunade said in a more serious tone. Choice 1 is to go through rehabilitation. While you are on rehab, you will also be on suspension for your earlier actions. If you can successfully make it through rehab, then I will reinstate you as a shinobi of Konoha village and even give you a special mission that I feel will bring out the best of your abilities. If however, after a certain amount of time you are not able to pass your rehab, then I will have no choice but to put a seal on you that prevents you from accessing any of your chakra. You will be incapable of ever being a ninja ever again. You will be just like Rock Lee was after his fight with Gaara. Or if you want, you can make that choice right now. And what's my third option? Tsunade's face got even sterner. It was so serious that she almost looked like the old lady that she really was instead of the young beauty that she fooled people into thinking she was with her jutsu. Death. Sasuke's boldness and stubbornness had temporarily been wiped away after hearing his third choice. His eyes were wide in shock, and his mouth was opened wide. Your actions are considered to be traitorous, especially considering what happened during the Chunin exam with the sound. If it weren't for one important factor, we would not be having this conversation right now. Sasuke tried to think. From what Tsunade was telling him, he should have already been dead. But due to some important reason, he wasn't. And in addition to that, he would be given a chance to reclaim his former glory. Normally Sasuke didn't give a damn about anything unless it helped him to further his goals. But this time, he was curious. What was it that allowed him to cheat death? Despite what you're thinking, Tsunade says as she looks at Sasuke's face stuck in confusion, neither Naruto or Sakura were factors in keeping you alive. Then why? Sasuke barks out, why am I still alive? Tsunade hated to admit it, but Sasuke had partially been right earlier. The higher-ups did respect Sasuke because of his clan affiliation. He was the last of the Uchiha, a clan as old as the beginning of Konoha itself. And the power that came from the Uchiha was definitely a military advantage. Lots of members in the government were relying on Sasuke to bring in some new Uchiha blood. Since Sasuke was an endangered species, a lot of the officials argued about losing this rarity forever. The reasons had been logical, Tsunade remembered as she sat in on that meeting. However, it wouldn't be enough to justify keeping Sasuke alive. He had committed treason. To betray your comrades was punishable by death. No questions asked. Tsunade had also pleaded that to kill Sasuke would defeat the entire purpose of the retrieval mission. If they wanted Sasuke dead so that he didn't reveal Konoha's secrets, they should have made the mission one of termination instead of retrieval. Killing Sasuke after all of the hard work the retrieval team went through would be a waste. Unfortunately, even that didn't help Sasuke's case. It wasn't until Tsunade had unveiled her trump card that she had been able to provide a legitimate reason to keeping Sasuke alive. How does your curse seal feel, Sasuke? Tsunade asks, does it bother you? What are you talking about? Sasuke answers, rubbing his neck where it once lay, you removed it. Exactly, Tsunade answers back, your curse seal is what literally saved your life. Are you familiar with the woman known as Mitarashi Anko? Sasuke tried to think before things started to come together. She was the examiner for the second test of the Chunin exams, why? It turns out, Tsunade begins again, that she also had a curse seal. Sasuke's eyes go wide in shock for the second time that day. Did you think you were the only one that Orochimaru ever had an interest in? Tsunade mocks, oh no. You were merely his next test subject in a long line of victims. My point though, is that after conversing with Anko, she had told me that the curse seal sometimes gave her violent and bloodthirsty tendencies. On occasion, it would also make her long for Orochimaru as well. From studying Anko's curse seal, I was able to come to the conclusion that Orochimaru has somewhat of a control on people with his curse seals. That is what makes me feel that you do have some good in you and that given a second chance, you would make the right decision. Now, what is your fate going to be, Sasuke? All of the choices sucked, Sasuke thought. Option 2 wasn't even an option to begin with. Why would he want to give up his strength and the one thing he could really call his own? How else would he be able to kill Itachi if he couldn't fight? Which led to option 3. Sasuke couldn't die. At least, not yet, he was an avenger. He had to make his older brother Itachi die for destroying their family, their heritage, their pride. It was because of Itachi that Sasuke's life was shit right now anyway. Itachi took everything away from him. Somebody had to destroy Itachi. And only Sasuke could do it. For his clan, Sasuke had to kill his older brother. But if he was dead, then how could he do it? Which meant that Sasuke had no choice but to take the first option. It cramped his style, but it was better than nothing. At least it gave Sasuke some time to prepare for Itachi. And with the curse seal gone, Sasuke could go full out on his abilities without having to worry about that damn seal sapping power away from him. Itachi. Sasuke smirks, you're as mine, and this time, I will come out on top. Fine. I'll go with the first choice. When I complete your stupid rehab, just what kind of special mission do you have for me? A light smile came to Tsunade's face. If all went according to plan, Sasuke would forget about Itachi unless he showed up himself. And she would be able to get Sasuke to open up even more and fill his heart with love, instead of hate. Anbu. With those final words, Tsunade opened the door to the room, and left. As she started to walk down the hall, Sakura ran into her. Tsunade-sama, is Sasuke-kun going to be alright? Yes. Sasuke will be just fine. He just needs some rest. Arigato. Sakura said as she bowed to her Hokage. You're quite welcome. Oh, and in 1 month, I want you to meet me in my office at 4 p.m. There are things that I want to speak to you about. And spread the message to anybody on Asuma's, Kurenai's, or Guy's teams. And if you get to Naruto before I do, give him the same message as well. Okay, I'll be there. Now if you'll excuse me, I have to get back to Sasuke-kun. Sakura then went back into Sasuke's room while Tsunade decided to go back to her office. Ah, young love. It was now late in the evening. Visiting hours for the hospital were over now, which meant that Sakura had to leave Sasuke and go home. As for Naruto, he was just finishing restocking his kitchen with ramen and milk, fresh milk. That mission that Naruto had went on with Shikamaru and the others really gave Naruto a lot of money. Also adding in the fact that they weren't even Chunin yet meant that they all got bonuses for doing an assignment that wasn't even in their rank. When Hinata had to cut her visit with Naruto at Ichiraku short, Naruto had decided to take that extra money that he had saved up and do some grocery shopping for essentials, especially ramen. His supply had been running short as of late. That's the last one, Naruto says as he put in one more instant cup of ramen inside a cupboard and closed the door. I now have enough ramen to last me for 2 whole months. Having completed his task, Naruto was now at a loss of what to do. He was still full from Ichiraku earlier, so he didn't need anything to eat. He wasn't in the mood for training, and due to the results of the retrieval mission, Kakashi had said that there would be no team meetings until further notice. So what was one to do? Just then, there was a knock at his door. Who could that be? Naruto asked himself as he went towards the door. It was Hinata, the only one that truly saw the good inside of him. Hi, Naruto-kun. I wanted to see you in. Naruto understood the meaning of those words and invited Hinata in. They both sat down on Naruto's couch. Once they did, Hinata gently gave Naruto a quick kiss on the cheek. I missed you, Naruto-kun. Hinata said as she cuddled up close to Naruto's body and nuzzled her head on his neck. Yeah, I missed you too, Hinata-chan. Naruto replied while he wrapped an arm around Hinata. They sat like that for what felt like hours, but in reality had only been about 10 minutes. They were content with just being in each other's company, so there was no need for talk. Naruto-kun, Hinata began, finally breaking the long silence. What are we going to do? If anybody finds out about us, then we could be in trouble. I know, Naruto said seriously, having concern in his blue eyes. But no matter what happens, I won't let anything happen to you. You are my precious person Hinata-chan, and I'll always be here. That's a promise of a lifetime. Naruto finished up his speech with a grin. Naruto-kun, Hinata whispered as her entire body turned deep red. Hinata then looked deeply into Naruto's eyes and gave him a nice, long, sensual kiss, a kiss that she had longed for, ever since she admitted her love for him the previous night. Now that Naruto knew her true feelings, Hinata no longer felt completely shy around him. And Hinata didn't hesitate to show Naruto just how much love she had for him when they were alone. Hinata wrapped her arms around Naruto's neck as she deepened the kiss. Naruto pulled Hinata's body in closer towards him as he showed his precious one just how much she meant to him. They didn't care that their love was forbidden, everyone could go to hell for all they cared, they were each other's strength, and nothing could tear them apart when they were together. During the rest of the month, Naruto and Hinata secretly trained together. On some days, they forgot about training and just had a make-out session instead. But on the days that they actually did train, they taught each other a couple of things. Hinata taught Naruto about controlling the amount of chakra he uses for his techniques some. That was one thing that Naruto had not truly mastered, even when he had learned how to summon Kyuubi's chakra from Jiraiya. Even with Kyuubi's power boost, wasting energy was still something that could prove hazardous for Naruto if he didn't learn how to control it properly. Naruto in return, had taught Hinata his trademark technique, the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Having Hinata learn one of his preferred moves not only increased their bond with each other, but also was essential when they wanted to spend time together and didn't want to add suspicion to the rest of the village. Learning Kage Bunshin really came in handy though when Naruto and Hinata would stay out really late at night, and Hinata didn't want to be missed at home. Hinata could just make a Kage Bunshin clone to take over for her until she got home. Nobody suspected a thing, which worked in Hinata's favor. Finally, it was the day that Tsunade had asked them all to be present, and 10 genin, plus 1 chunin were all waiting inside Tsunade's office. "Thank you all for showing up," Tsunade said as the door was shut. "Let's get down to business. As you know, ever since Sandaime died, Konoha has been very busy working to rebuild the village and to prepare against threats such as Orochimaru and the Sound. Based on the events that happened about a month ago, Orochimaru is still alive and is still a threat. Our supply of ninjas is small. Ever since that battle with Orochimaru at the Chunin exams, we lost a lot of dedicated shinobi, and replacing them has been an arduous task, but I think I know a way to solve that problem. But before I tell you all my plans, let's welcome back an old comrade." As soon as Tsunade opened the door, the 11 members of the Konoha 12 were in shock. There was no mistaking who was outside the door. There was no mistaking the blue and white that this young man wore. There was no mistaking the Uchiha fan on the back of his shirt. "Sasuke-kun," Sakura shouted as she ran towards her teammate and embraced him. Suddenly, Naruto, Neji, Kiba, Choji, Lee, and Shikamaru were pissed to see Sasuke in front of them, and for good reason. Neji and Choji were nearly killed, Kiba's dog Akamaru was killed, and while Naruto did come back alive, he looked like shit. Shikamaru, Kiba, and Lee were the only ones that didn't come back from the mission looking like they had gone head-on with a storm. And the reason for that was because they had assistance from Gaara and his siblings. Tsunade knew things would get out of control if she didn't clear them up quickly. "Through my studies, I found out that Sasuke had been controlled by Orochimaru," Tsunade lied. "Sasuke had no say in what he did, so please try not to hold that against him. He is truly sorry for the pain that he has caused you all, and he merely wishes to put it all in the past so that we can all move on. There will be no other questions regarding this. Is that clear?" Naruto and Sakura knew that was bullshit. Sasuke knew exactly what he was doing. However, they both knew that Tsunade had been doing this their sake and for his, so they kept their mouth shut. Besides, the excuse actually worked. Nobody, not even Shikamaru, suspected a thing. "Good," Tsunade said once everyone understood. "Now as I was saying, while the celebration was going on about a month ago, I had all of your teachers write a progress report on their students. How everybody was doing, what their strengths were, weaknesses, and so forth. Based on our current situation of rebuilding Konoha, I have decided to split you all up and assign you to different assignments and teams that will bring out the best in your abilities." "What?" Ino protested, "You're breaking us up. You can't be serious. Settle down." Tsunade says, "Sorry for such the long delay everyone, but there were outside issues that prevented me from getting this chapter going. For one thing, my CPU had a major bug in it, so I had to clean it out. Second, I was tied up with work. But now that I've figured things out, I'll update this story a lot more often now. I am already working on a chapter 4 while you read this. Thank you so much for the reviews. The other reason for this chapter coming out so late is because I was having problems trying to start it off. My first draft had Tsunade and Kakashi talking about the future of Team 7, but then I axed that because it was boring me. And if I'm bored, I know that you readers will feel it even worse. Hopefully, this chapter should deal with some of the controversy that I had with Chapter 2. And finally, I wanted to make sure that acknowledgement stood out from all of the other Naruhina stories. There are a lot of great Naruhina stories on like Nindo, Two Halves, Victory Kyubi, I'm Not Alone, which is actually the story that inspired me to write Naruto Fix, and even though it's not Naruhina but Narusaku, I also like Genin. There are a lot of other great Naruhina stories as well, but if I listed them all, then the list would be longer than the fanfic itself. Lol. Anyway, since I appreciate all of you reading this little piece of work that we call fanfiction, I need to do something to keep it from being just another Naruhina fic. I want to make sure that when you read each and every new chapter of acknowledgement, you get the feeling that you haven't read it in any other story before. I want you to have the feeling that you can read another story like Nindo and not be able to compare it to mine. I want all of those other great Naruhina stories to have their own individuality about them without being compared to someone else. Now in no way am I trying to say that I want to be better than everyone else, for that's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that I want this to be a worthwhile story to anyone who reads it. That's one of the main reasons why I put in the anime episode style. It gives this Naruhina story a different feel. Well, that's enough from me. I hope you enjoy this, and I'll see you at Chapter 4. Trutenor. Byakugan. Hinata yelled as she activated the jutsu that came from her advanced bloodline. Hinata-chan, do you see anything? Naruto-kun. Behind you. Naruto turned around and saw smoke disappearing. As the smoke disappeared, a figure that had been hiding in there became clearer to see. When Naruto saw who it was, his mouth opened wide. Greetings, Naruto. It's been a long time. Naruto-kun, what is the matter? Do you know who he is? Ebisu-sensei, the closet pervert that fell victim to my harem no jutsu. Why is that old hag giving him to me and Hinata-chan? Chapter 3. Path to Chunin. The first day of training begins. Looks like I'm the first one here. Hyuga Neji had just arrived at the Konoha Bridge 15 minutes early. Being the first one there, Neji closed his eyes and meditated for a bit to clear his mind and reflect on where his life journey had taken him so far. At the tender age of 3, his life had been changed forever, when his uncle Hiashi had placed the branch clan curse upon his forehead, signifying that he was inferior to the main house of the Hyuga dynasty. Despite all that, Neji rose to become the best and most powerful Hyuga warrior in the branch and main houses combined. There was a reason why Neji had been ranked the number 1 rookie of the previous Genin class. This kid could fight, and he did it well. His attacks were smooth like water, yet strong like a rock. To make a long story short, Neji was unsurpassed in skill, technique, and power, and was almost invincible. That was what Neji had thought at first, until he suffered defeat at the hands of Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto had graduated, just barely, at the bottom of the class. He was known as the biggest prankster in all of Konoha. For whatever reason that they had, everyone in the village hated this young man that had no family. But inside that stadium during the Chunin finals, Naruto was a different person from the prankster and troublemaker that people often said that he was. For one thing, his persistence to win had been annoying at first, but upon understanding the nature of his never give up attitude, Neji had to admit that Naruto had earned his respect that day. Naruto did not fight for himself that day, he had fought for his cousin Hinata, as well as the rest of the Hyuga Empire. Naruto had said he would one day change the clan when he finally achieved the rank of Hokage. This was the joke that everyone laughed at. Naruto was the last person that anybody would expect to become Hokage. What a funny joke. Naruto, Hokage, but then again, maybe it wasn't a joke after all. Naruto's strength had come from his desire to help others, caring for others, that seemed to be true strength. But despite his loss, Neji did not feel like a loser. In fact, Neji finally felt free from the curse that befell all Hyugas that just happened to be born on the branch side. Why did this have to matter so freaking much? What difference did it make of who was born first and on which side? Konoha was supposed to be known for its strength and unity among the people, yet ironically, segregation was taking place behind closed doors. But that did not stop the progress of Hyuga Neji, being one of the chosen few selected by newly appointed Chunin Nara Shikamaru. Neji went on a quest to rescue the only remaining member of the other clan said to rival that of the Hyuga, the Uchiha. That battle with Orochimaru's men had been a true test of his skills as a ninja. Neji had thought that he would die on that battlefield, but the impact that Naruto's words had made in his heart had given Neji the strength and the will to defeat his foe and buy time for the others. Everything went black after that last blow to his opponent. Death is coming, were the words that entered the Hyuga prodigy's mind, but his thoughts had proven him wrong when his comrades, who had succeeded in their mission to bring back the runaway Uchiha, waked him up a while later and helped him to get back to the village for some much-needed rest and recuperation. His skills had always been praised, only this time, they would finally be given the respect that they deserved. Upon returning to the village, Neji was appointed by Tsunade, the fifth Hokage, to be trained to become an Anbu member. Becoming an Anbu was the next best thing to being a Sennin, or Hokage itself. Being trained for a new position meant getting new teammates as well. One of those new teammates was from Kurenai's team, the same team that his cousin Hinata happened to be on. Aburame Shino was the name of this new teammate, and he came from the mysterious Aburame clan, a clan that used bugs as a way of life. Shino could prove to be a very useful teammate, Neji thought, but it was that other new teammate that was going to be on his team that had peeved Neji off a bit. Neji's other teammate was going to be none other than Uchiha Sasuke. Sasuke came from the Uchiha clan, the clan said to rival that of the Hyuga. While the Uchihas didn't have the ability of Byakugan, they were blessed with a different eye jutsu called Sharingan. According to the stories that he had read about the history of Konohagakure, the Uchiha clan was slightly related to the Hyuga clan. Which meant that Sasuke was like a distant cousin or something. If Sasuke was a distant cousin, then it had to be true since Sasuke was the new number 1 ranked rookie of the current Genin class. This was the dream match that everybody in the village had dreamed about. The Hyuga versus the Uchiha. Which clan was stronger? Upon the beginning of the Chunin exams, a part of Neji had wanted to test the skills of the Uchiha prodigy, but he had more important matters to deal with at the time. Being frustrated with his place in the Hyuga clan, Neji took all his anger out on his cousin Hinata. Long after the Chunin exams had ended, Neji thought that one day he might get that chance to challenge Sasuke, but then Sasuke had decided to run away from the village and turn his back on it. So Neji and the rest of the members on his team found him, beat his ass, and brought him back to the village. And now this guy, the same guy, who had run away from everything, was going to be on the same team as him. That was not right, that Uchiha brat didn't deserve to be on the same team. This was one of those times when Neji had to question the reasoning of the Hokage. Why would Tsunade put an ungrateful brat on one of the most elite teams in the village? Something just didn't add up here. And speaking of Uchihas, Sasuke was starting to approach the Konoha bridge now. Neji had opened his eyes upon feeling the strong aura of chakra emanating from the Uchiha boy. Both boys glared at each other upon initial eye contact. They were both a bit upset with each other. Sasuke was still a bit unhappy that the Hyuga snob had assisted in preventing him from reaching Orochimaru, while Neji was not delighted to see the ungrateful brat that he had risked his life for to rescue on the same team as him. Let's just hope that the instructor for this team is extremely strong and powerful. Already, 2 of its members were off to a rocky start, and things can quickly become chaotic at the drop of a hat. Haruno Sakura and Yamanaka Ino. It's good to see you two ladies again. Yumino Iruka had just arrived at the Ninja Academy and was discussing the new plans for the school while enjoying a small breakfast of tea and rice balls. It's a shame that you won't be able to teach the students anymore, Iruka-sensei. Sakura sighed while she drank a cup of green tea. Yeah, there isn't a better teacher than you. Ino also added in while pouring a cup of tea for Iruka. Thanks for the compliments, girls. Iruka thanked the ladies as he accepted the cup of tea from Ino. But you know what the state of Konoha is in. I'm needed out in the field more than I am in the school. But that's why you two are here. To ensure that the school doesn't need to close again. But, do you really think that we can do it? Sakura asked while taking a bite out of a rice ball. There isn't a more qualified person to teach than you two, Iruka said while bringing the cup of tea to his lips. When the Hokage showed me the progress reports of all of my students, I saw who was capable of teaching and who was not. You and Ino were the perfect match. What about Shikamaru? Ino asked, while drinking some tea. Isn't he the genius? How come you didn't have him teach instead? I thought about that, Iruka said slowly, being careful to choose how he said his words. But, Shikamaru's skills are needed out in the field more. Also, being a teacher is about more than just knowing information. One must be able to have an impact on their students and give them a reason to want to learn. Nothing against Shikamaru, but he really isn't the most enthusiastic of ninjas. The Ninja Academy teacher must be able to reach out to the ones that they teach. I see, both Sakura and Ino replied while slowly nodding their heads forward. Now, Iruka said putting down his cup of tea. Let's get started on what you two will need to be able to teach. Iruka pulled out a couple of books out of his bag and handed one to each kunoichi. Iruka then pulled out a third copy of the same book for himself. These are your Ninja Academy teacher guides. Iruka began as he opened the book to the first page. Inside are suggestions for dealing with the students as well as a list of all of the basic jutsus of Konoha. There are also writings on describing the different types of ninja techniques such as ninjutsu, genjutsu, and taijutsu, as well as descriptions on the animal hand gestures needed to activate certain kind of jutsus. Are there any questions? Just one, Sakura said, raising her hand up. If I'm not mistaken, a minimum rank of Chunin is required to be able to be a Ninja Academy teacher. Now, are we officially Chunins? Not quite, Iruka said as he went back into his bag. But if you teach at the Ninja Academy for a couple of years, you can slowly work your way up to a Chunin. Iruka pulled out 2 badges with the Konoha symbol on them and handed them to Sakura and Ino. Those badges give you the rank of a special genin as well as the rank of a Ninja Academy teacher. During a mission, you will have the rank of genin, but while you are teaching at Ninja Academy, your title will be a bit higher. You two are now officially qualified to teach students in Ninja Academy and help them become genins. Quote, is the role of a special genin similar to the role of a special junin, Iruka-sensei? Sakura asked while looking inside the teacher guide. Somewhat, Iruka replied back. The only difference is that you and Ino are only qualified to teach students that are academy students and ninjas that are genin. Here is a guide to help you two understand a bit better. Iruka pulled out a big piece of paper from his bag and opened it up. Here are the ninja rankings. I'm sure that you've seen this before, but this one goes more into depth than the old version. Here at the top, you see the picture of Tsunade-sama, our 5th Hokage. Underneath her, you see a picture of Jiraiya, a Sennin. Underneath him are Kakashi and Asuma, your team leaders who also happen to be Junin, or elite ninjas. Underneath them is the special Junin Ebisu. As a special Junin, Ebisu is qualified to teach anybody in Konoha and help him or her advance to the next rank or improve his or her skills as shinobi. Underneath Ebisu is a picture of Shikamaru, a Chunin. Chunins are qualified to teach as well as have a team of genin underneath them to do missions. Underneath Shikamaru is Naruto, a genin. And underneath Naruto is Konohamaru, Ninja Academy student. In between Naruto and Shikamaru we will put your pictures, ladies. Iruka says while pulling out a marker and drawing two heads of Sakura and Ino. You two are special genin. Your Abelites are very similar to Ebisu except that you can only teach people that are below your ninja rank. Now I have a question. Ino says while raising her hand. If Ebisu is a lot more qualified to teach than us, then how come you don't have him run the ninja academy? Ebisu has just taken on 2 students personally, so he would not have the time to run the ninja academy. Iruka says, finishing off a rice ball. But don't worry, you two will do fine. I have the utmost confidence in both of your teaching abilities, ladies. Now are there any other questions? Both ladies shook their heads no. Good, Iruka said getting up from his seat and closing his bag. Now if you'll excuse me. I need to get back home and pack. I have a B-ranked mission to go to tomorrow morning. I will be gone for about 2 to 4 days. Thanks for the advice, Iruka-sensei. Sakura happily yelled at Iruka as he started to walk towards his home. We won't let you down. Ino also happily yelled while she waved her hands goodbye. As soon as Iruka was gone, Sakura and Ino went back into the Ninja Academy classroom to clean up. We will do fine, Sakura. Those children are in good hands with us in charge. Hell yeah, Sakura replied back to Ino. We will teach and raise the best students in Konoha village. At least, I hope we can do it. Inner Sakura thought, I just hope we haven't bitten off more than we can chew. Tell me something, Uchiha, Neji asked with a hint of disdain in his voice. Why did you leave the village? Personal reasons, Hyuga, Sasuke responded back also with some slight coldness. Reasons that have nothing to do with Konoha. There was a bit of silence between the two genins as they digested the slight bit of conversation that they shared with each other. Neji closed his eyes again and meditated, while Sasuke just looked over in a different direction with his chin resting on his fingers. Finally, about 2 minutes later, Sasuke spoke again. Now I have a question for you. Sasuke asked, still looking away in a different direction. Why did you go after me? Shikamaru asked me. Neji answered back, eyes still closed. He needed the best genin that he felt most worthy to go after you and bring you back to the village. Just don't get in my way. I should be saying that to you. HMPH. HMPH. Hey guys. Sasuke looked in the opposite direction while Neji opened his eyes. Both boys looked towards the Konoha bridge and saw Aburame Shino, their third teammate, approaching them. Hey, was all that Sasuke said. Shino. Neji responded. Shino found a corner of his own to stand in. Once he was nice and comfortable, the sounds of silence entered the Konoha bridge once again. So, Shino spoke up, breaking the silence. Do either of you know who our teacher is going to be? No. Both Sasuke and Neji said simultaneously, almost like they were twins. Oh, Shino responded back. Everything suddenly went silent again. Shino looked at his watch after a while. It was now 5:15 a.m. Their teacher was 15 minutes late. What kind of teacher was late? Sorry I'm a little late, but a fire broke out in Konoha village, and I used a couple of water jutsus to put out some of it until the Konoha fire department was able to arrive. Sasuke smirked when he heard that comment. Only one person made up excuses for his tardiness. Liar, Sasuke said to the shinobi that had just arrived at the Konoha bridge. Sasuke, the shinobi, known as Hitaki Kakashi, responded back. It's been a while. Is he always late for training missions? Neji asked. Pretty much, Sasuke answered. Then the rumors that Kurenai-sensei told my team were true. Shino added in. What rumors? Kakashi asked Shino. That you are always late to meetings, missions, or anything else that requires you to show up at a specific time. And rather than tell the truth, you always make up some kind of lame excuse for your tardiness. Who is making up excuses? I'm telling the truth. There was a fire in downtown Konoha. I had to use a couple of water jutsus to put out some of it. You might be an elite ninja, Neji added in, but you are a horrible liar. Kakashi sighed as he pulled out his copy of Ika Ika Paradise. It looked like this team was going to be the same as his old Team 7. Hokage-sama, yelled one of the assistants as he ran into the Hokage office. Huh? What's going on? Hokage-sama, you were asleep, weren't you? Me? Asleep? No, I wasn't asleep. Yes you were. I just saw you. No I wasn't, Tsunade said as she wiped some drool off of her face. I was working on a new jutsu that goes deep into the subconscious. While it is in effect, it gives people the impression that one is asleep when really they are not. A new jutsu, huh? The assistant questioned Tsunade. Of course. Anyway, what is the commotion? A fire started in downtown Konoha about 5 a.m. this morning. Fortunately, Hitaki Kakashi was able to keep it from spreading by using a couple of water jutsus until the Konoha Fire Department arrived to finish the job. So the fire is out now? Yes. Was anybody injured or killed? As far as we know, no. Good. I want a full report at noon. And make sure that I'm not disturbed again until Nara Shikamaru arrives at 6 a.m. as I want to perfect this N.